price tag has been set for Elliot Anderson, £100 million. The same ballpark as Declan Rice, the same ballpark as Moises Caicedo. And you know Forest have not come to play. What reports are also saying, according to The Athletic, is that Tonali is not Man United's number one option for midfield. It is also Elliot Anderson. There's concerns over Tonali with various different issues, but the real target, the top target they want, is Elliot Anderson, who we've been led to believe City is sniffing around. He's maybe more closer to going there. We don't know. But what The Athletic are saying, which is a bold statement, is that Tonali is not Man United's top target. It is, in fact, Elliot Anderson. And also, Carlos Baleba is just another name on the list. He's seen as the second guy as well. So this is really hotting up, man. We've been spending time talking about Tonali for the last week or so because those rumours have really intensified, only to get to this point, and the Athletic are going big and saying, nah, mate, it ain't about Tonali. Man United really want Elliot Anderson, and also Nottingham Forest value him at the best part of £100 million. Does that change your opinion? Because let's face it, guys, Newcastle United also value Tonali at somewhere near the £100 million mark. Is that just the going rate you have to be willing to pay? Ask Chelsea, ask Arsenal, that you have to pay for top central midfielders? Or do we need to look in the continent? Do we need to look at younger, more unproven players to bring the price down? Where do you stand? Spend the money, get the quality, or nurture the quality and find bargains elsewhere? Let me know what you guys are saying in the comments below. Smash a like on the video, people. Subscribe to the channel if you are new. Welcome back to United View. It's all going off. It's all going off. Loads of stuff going off. Anderson's asking price. United rebuilding the midfield. Tonali now not the main guy. Now it's about Anderson. 100 million. It's all going off, Owen.
Yes, it's all going off indeed. Good morning, folks. Top target. It seems like it's changing every single day, doesn't it? One day it's Tonali, the next day it's Anderson, the next day it's 100 million, the next day it's 2 midfielders, the 3 midfielders. The top targets are always changing, but the one target that should be consistent is your health, right? Because my top target for the summer flex is to get that weight loss goal hit and also to get restorative sleep. If only there were 2 supplements that could do that for me. My 2 top targets for the summer. Well, actually, I know them. Roll VT, this is going to be good.
Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Oxford Natural and their all-new natural supplement, Optimum Day and Night. Thousands across the UK, USA and beyond are smashing their health goals with Oxford Natural. Optimum Day gives you steady energy, curbs your cravings and keeps your metabolism firing all day. Optimum Night helps you relax, get restorative sleep, recover and keep burning fat while you rest. It's not a magic pill, but it will help you reach your health goals. Check out some of the incredible results. 2 of our own. Owen lost over 100 pounds in 10 months and KG dropped 30 pounds in 4 months. In 8 months, football legend Michael Owen lost 35 pounds and Robbie from AFTV, Don Robbie, lost over 80 pounds. And in 6 months, Anita, an award-winning immigration lawyer, lost 44 pounds. And Linda, a law firm executive, lost over 50 pounds. No gimmicks, no needles, just results. Oxford Natural, let's get to work.
Oh, I tell you what, that would have been a better one, Chalaboy Comics. You're bloody right. It's all going off, just like the weight you could lose before the summer. Optimum by Oxford Natural. Oh, it was good.
Tell you what, we're still that for future reference. You have copyright, but we're nicking that one.
Yeah, I like that one. I like that one. Yes, as always, you can scan that QR code right there to subscribe and save up to 70% off your Optimum Day, which is good for your weight loss goals, curb your cravings, and all that stuff. Yeah,
cheers,
well, I did both at the same time. Bloody yeah. Nice. Actually, yeah. So you've also got your Optimum Day, but you also got your Optimum Night, which is good for your restorative sleep and keeps your metabolism firing while you rest. Indeed, you can get them individually or combined, any which way you please. Scan the QR code, click the link in the video description. It's pinned in the chat. You can get Optimized today. Go to the landing page, find out all the info, and start your journey. Indeed, it's not too late. You're right, Flex. You're right, Chalaboy Comics. It is all going off this morning. As we just touched on, new top targets changing every single day. Just when you think it's sort of settled. And we were saying yesterday on Red Carpet, aren't we? Sort of going, it feels kind of Tonali and Belabor-ish for the summer. That feels like where it's going. And Elliot Anderson, he's definitely going to City, and they're leading the race. And by the way, nothing I suppose has changed too much in that regard, as far as we know, but the reporting suddenly looks a little bit different and a little bit surprising this morning. Now, all of this reporting comes from The Athletic, comes from an article, a really in-depth, extensive article written by James Horncastle. Actually, I'll just show you the sort of the top of the article. It is behind a paywall, obviously. But so it says basically this. It says, Sandro Tonali is Italy's main man. What does the future hold for the Newcastle midfielder? And it's a lot about Tonali and what he's going to be doing in the summer. And obviously, Italy, they didn't make it to the last couple of World Cups, etc., etc. So it's more about that. But sort of in there, sandwiched in there, there is this information and news that everyone's sort of going, that's a big sort of line. That's a big sort of thing just to say there. That's a bit of a throwaway thing to say. And one of which is this, where they say that Elliot Anderson is now understood to be the top target for the midfield position at Manchester United, who are keen to sign at least 2 players in the position, possibly 3, if Manuel Ugarte is sold, which of course is what we've all been saying recently, isn't it? Like, we need 2, probably 3 if you're going to get rid of Ugarte as well, which he's probably going to go. Now, they also say there, if Manchester United do move for Anderson, they would try and complete a deal before the World Cup, as his price could rise and the market become more competitive if he shines in the tournament. Now, in terms of the price, Mike McGrath writing last night saying that they would value, Nottingham Forest rather, would value Elliot Anderson at more than £100 million, which, as we've touched on before, is kind of the going rate for midfielders, and a lot.
It says it in the article, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, and a lot will depend on obviously what happens with Forest if they stay in the Premier League. If they don't, things could change and all of that. But also, not only is Elliot Anderson sort of the top target, but that other name that we were talking about, Sandro Tonali, who yesterday felt like the top target for Manchester United. The links have actually been sort of pushed back a little bit this morning in the same article. It says actually that last summer we were interested in getting Tonali. He was identified as a priority target for Man United last summer, but was not pursued because of the overall costs involved. While he does remain of interest, United are considering other options this time round. Why? Well, because there is some concern at Old Trafford about his gambling ban, and the overall cost of a potential deal is a factor. United sources, this is the key part here, United sources played down the prospect of a move for Tonali in the upcoming transfer window. So all jam-packed in the same article, and there's a little bit on Belabor, but that's kind of secondary. We can touch on that a little bit later. But all jam-packed in that article, you've got, they liked Tonali last year, but there were concerns. Same concerns are there this year. Actually, all this talk that we're going to go get him, I'll play that one down a little bit. Elliot Anderson, who we think, yeah, we want him, but he's going to go to City. They're leading the race. Suddenly this morning, Flex, no, he's top target. He's the top target. United are going to really try and get a deal done, maybe before the World Cup, because of the high price as it is, and maybe it could get very high. I mean, is this just, once again, guesswork? No one really knows the truth, and everyone's trying to throw some stuff at the wall and see what sticks? Or is there truth in it that actually with Tonali, Anderson is top of the list? Maybe we looked at other options the last few days because we felt like City were maybe leading the way, but no, he's still top of the list, still going to give it a go. I mean, what do you make of it all?
Yeah, I think it's all a little bit of everything, really. I mean, when you read the article and it says, sources close to it who speak, anonymously to protect their this, that, and the other, they go to the clubs and they get a little sense out of it, of the feeling of what's going on. So I think there's something in it when they say, listen, United were trying to look at Tonali last year, it just wasn't feasible. So they like this guy, they like what he is as a player. But then, like you said, the bit about the gambling ban, there's still a few people who kind of not sure. Do we want to take that on? He seems past it. That's brilliant for himself and stuff like that. But it's a bit of baggage. Are we sure about that? So I think there's a little bit of truth in that. I think there's a little bit of truth in, of course, they like Anderson, they would want him. It's not hard to believe that. Everybody kind of does. And then again, and also I think there's truth on the side of the price, which is from the Forest perspective, which is they value him at, it says, obviously Mike McGrath said that they value him at over that, but actually in the article that has been written in The Athletic, it more says that Forest would expect his price tag to reflect one that Rice went for and Caicedo went for, which obviously is sub 100. So you're going, right, obviously they value him at around that. So it kind of marrying up to the same thing. I think the question is, from our points of view, is when we say we want the best in class, or when we say we want the next up and we want the Premier League proven and we want this and we want that, and not like, oh, just wait 5 years for him to be good or this, that, and the other. Like, we need the proper players. You have to play proper players going rates. And in this day and age, these type of sixes, don't get loads of goals. People are always criticizing Declan Rice, saying he ain't world class, don't do enough with the ball from deep. He doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. He's not world class. But when you want these type of players from within the league, the big ones, they are costing this much money. So we have to say to ourselves, well, if you want somebody, if you want the next Caicedo, which, potentially is Belabor as well, that's why they were quoting 100 odd million and this top prices. Forest are going to demand what it is. And especially if he's in the England squad like he is, where it seems like he's still the lead six to start the World Cup, Elliot Anderson, I'd be surprised if he's not at this point. Never know with Tuchel. Again, that adds value. So we have to be comfortable paying that for somebody from within the league if we want that type of player. And that's why I asked at the beginning of the video is, would you rather not pay this type of money and say, scouts, go and find the value? You don't have to spend 105 million on the guy that you know is good in the league. Take the chance, get the guy from Bundesliga, get the guy from the the Italian league or Spanish league, whatever, and find that 50 million guy, that 45 million guy. How much? And considering we need 3, you're not going to get 3 that are all bargains and unproven and untested. So we have to be in this race, guys. In my opinion, I know it's a risk of 100 million for thingy, 100 million. These guys ain't worth that. But who is worth what you say they are these days in football? Like what is it? My other thing is that, what do Ineos think about this? Because they are after these type of players, clearly, but they're not really ones that they've been telling us we're not really doing that 100 million pound thing. But they are looking for the young English / young Premier League proven, ready to go, up some gears. And Tonali ticks that at 25, and Elliot Anderson definitely ticks that, and so does Belabor, but they're all going to be expensive. So on one side, they tick the Ineos box of not 30 plus, and, like the Bruno Guimaraes one, don't spend 80, 90 million on him against Ineos model. But these guys tick the Ineos model, but the price is really high. So it's a real difficult one, man. I think we're still going to be in the market for one of these expensive ones. One thing I did see someone say at the start of the show, which was really interesting. I picked up on it as well. Accountability and all that. Where is that? Let me go back. There you go. Big up to you, Nas. I'm going to say Nas. I saw Flex talking about these players won't be worth 100 million, and I was genuinely curious as to why he thought that. I can see at least Anderson going for more than 100 million. And at the time, I remember speaking to Owen about that, and I was saying to Owen, I just don't think every club starts out at that, but I'm not sure. I don't believe that there'll be 100 plus. I think it'll be like the 75 plus add-ons, taking it to like 88 million and stuff like that, still below the 100. But what we're hearing is that these guys are being valued at that price. Now, they can value at that all they want, but when it comes down to it, though, and the negotiations kick in, it could still be less. It could still be very high. Like I said, it could be a total package of 87 million. Not much in it, is there, really? Basically, is 100 million. But I still think there's deals to be done. Even seeing this, I do believe it. Of course, Forest value him at that. I just feel like it will be lower. Maybe not by much, but definitely I've got to take into consideration. Yeah, even Newcastle with Tonali, they're still valuing at a lot of money. So, yes, whether we want to go near that price tag.
Yeah. Also, as well, you have to consider is what it will end up being reported as. Like you say, it might be reported as 100 million, maybe a little bit more. But I saw Laurie Whitwell talking about the Casemiro deal this week on one of his podcasts, and he was sort of saying, well, for all of the Man United spent 70 million on Casemiro, they didn't, because that extra 10 million was related to winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, and of course, Man United did not do that. So they spent, they spent 60, nowhere near 70. So, like you say, it might be Forest want 100 million. Do they want that all up front? Do they want the total package to be 100 million? Like, what would they be, looking for? But I agree. Look, we said it last night on the red carpet, didn't we? We went around the panel saying about what one name do you want? Obviously, we want to sign 2, probably 3 midfielders, but what one name do you want above the rest? And for me, it was Elliot Anderson, because we were talking last night about, if Tonali comes in, you might still need to get another midfielder to get that extra bit of bite, because whilst you do have with Tonali great forward passing, great energy and line breaking balls and what have you, you don't really have the bite, the aggressiveness, maybe not aggressiveness, but, the sort of winning the duels that, say, Elliot Anderson does. And so you're going to have to get another midfielder, but that also, so you can play the ball forward, but you've also got bite and you've also got this. And then I sort of said, well, that's the one player that can do it all there in Elliot Anderson, right? You know me, I'm not the biggest stats guy, but a couple of times this season, whenever we've seen those crazy graphs of Jules Ward and passes forward, Elliot Anderson's off the chart, literally off the chart, in the same way like Bruno's off the chart in those ridiculous charts that he's on. And you just sort of go, that's more than just a good season. You know what I mean? If you have a good couple of seasons, you'll get up there, but not off the scale. You know what I mean? Off the scale. And when he's playing with England, he looks very comfortable. And the general consensus is, in the article, James Horncastle talks about this, saying, they're talking about Tonali and Anderson. Remember, this is a midfield that Newcastle potentially had a couple of years ago. And, they got rid of Elliot Anderson. And the other way came Vlachodimos, the goalkeeper, who played once for
Forest.
He
was like 30 million.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous, like 45 million or so, ridiculous, because they get it because it was, because of the PSR workaround. And now Elliot Anderson's gone, and he's probably going to be going for 100 million. So the thing I'm so just surprised about this morning is it's such a U-turn on what it was yesterday. Or over the weekend. Over the weekend, it was very much Tonali.
Well, Fabrizio was saying this. United really want it,
exactly. And and Sully was saying that, who I trust, and Tonali, and even a little bit before that, they've also spoken to Baleba. That's kind of so everyone sort of was thinking, all right, it's Tonali and Baleba, that works. Get another midfielder as well. That's fine. And the Anderson one was, well, it would have been nice to get, great numbers, great player, but Man City's recruitment's very good. And like KG was saying last night, still, when you do the project versus project, there is with City, despite everything that's hanging over them, this feeling of, well, you might win stuff though. And, at United, that's still not a sure thing at the moment.
100%.
The hope is that there is momentum and the lay of the land in the Prem, but, there's still uncertainty there. And now this morning, he's still the top target, cost around 100 million, but that's it. So I'm already wary of that already. It's like everyday new midfielder top target. If this is a teaser of what the summer is going to be, good Lord.
Yeah, and I think we do have to take that. You make a good point. Like, we do have to remember that side of it. The rumor mill starts going crazy, even from the real credible guys. It's like this isn't total bullshit. I wouldn't say that. We are. This cluster of players are all available. This is a central midfielders market. We always talk about, last year it was all about the strikers. They're all moving and this, that, and the other. Next year it might be all about centre backs. It might be all about full backs. Who knows?
The strikers last year it was Gyökeres, Šeško,
Watkins,
Watkins, Osimhen. Osimhen was on the market as well, wasn't he?
Delap,
and it was
he had 3 options. That's 5.
Yeah, and like you said, there was 5.
Jackson, he was leaving, going that way.
And it was and you're right. And it was well, we know these players are going to end up somewhere this summer. We know
we need one as well. Yeah, we just to get one of them.
We just don't know what the order is going to be of who goes where. And you're right. It's the same with midfielders this summer. We're well, Tonali, Baleba, Anderson, they are all going to move. Well, and Wharton. They're going to leave this. We just don't know.
Gomez is going down.
Yeah, we just don't know who's going where at this point.
You don't know what pieces,
But once one goes somewhere, so let's say City did announce really early, we've got Elliot Anderson, we'd probably go, right, we might get Tonali. Or
you wouldn't mind the domino. Obviously, you want your club to be first, but you probably want a domino to fall, because I think it was the same with us. I mean, Gyökeres went to Arsenal. Because I remember doing a video saying, with my little Nerf guns, I remember doing that, going, come on, Arsenal, let's have a shootout for Gyökeres. Because at that time, it was very... Which one do you want? I remember speaking to all the Arsenal fans, obviously doing a lot of content with Robbie and stuff, saying, which one do you want? And they were going, obviously Šeško is good, one for the future, but we need it now. And at the time, it was there was a point in time, this is how crazy it was. I remember it vividly. we were linked more so with Gyökeres because of the Amorim thing. He's made calls than we were with Šeško. Šeško was linked with Arsenal the summer before. He chose to stay, extend. Arteta liked him. The price was putting them off for how young he was, though. And then they were umming and ahhing about Gyökeres. And you kind of, then the Šeško thing went a bit quiet. Then it was Newcastle United. They're losing Isak, but they're waiting. Jonathan David, another one. Yeah, get him on a free. He'll be available on a free. Get Jonathan David. He was the talk of the town from Lille at the time. So it really does change very quickly. And I think that we have to take a step back, actually, from this and look at that and say, actually, we've been through this before. It's hard to do it as fans because we're like, oh, now the Athletic said this, now that. But actually, we've just come from this. We just named all those strikers. We just literally named 6. That it was a strikers market last year. They all moved about. Bayern got a little bit of Jackson. Chelsea got Delap in the end after Newcastle United tried to get him. Arsenal ended up with Gyökeres after Gyökeres had all the problem with his agent. And not his agent, the sporting director at Sporting, who was saying, no, I made a gentleman's agreement of this, but he will not leave for less than 100 million euros and all of that bullshit. Then, Newcastle go, right, we've lost that. Ekitike, another one. There you go. He's another striker who was on the move. Kolo Muani was another one, wasn't he? I think because he went to Spurs in the end on loan.
Yeah.
So there was loads of, Ekitike's, they've hijacked, Liverpool have hijacked that. Obviously, Isak was the other one. We forgot to mention the biggest one of the whole summer, which was awful. So there was all these strikers that were going everywhere. Yeah, João Pedro went to Chelsea. It was crazy. Now you think back.
Wissa, like they said, like Wissa, and even that one was if he goes, was that stop the Mbumo one? What happens with that?
Do you know what
I mean?
And then obviously, if you're being extra, you can add Voltemada into that because that was who was replacing Isak. But so there's like 10 guys involved in this, and then really and truly, I know you go, there's stuff that are not to do with us, but in terms of the pieces that are moving, you add in Casemiro. He's leaving. He's going somewhere. You add in Ugarte. Kind of need him to leave. He's going to move. There's a lot of midfielders that are got to move. So we are just replacing the striker speculation last year for the midfielder this year. And actually, you're right. This just shows that nobody truly knows. There's good feelings. Like we know that we've been a long-time supporter or wanter of, Baleba. We know that. We know we like Tonali. We know we like Anderson. So does everybody. So, yeah, man, we just have to sit tight and just, wait for big chance. Because even when Romano comes out and says it's true, meetings are happening with Tonali in the camp, then 3 days later, the Athletic are saying he's not the actual top target. Then it was Bruno Guimaraes for a little bit. We thought, tell you what, something happening here. And it started off before that, 2 weeks before that. Remember, we were like, the Tonali and Guimaraes ones, they feel the furthest away. Don't feel like there's anything in that.
Yeah.
Now they've been the closest for a couple of weeks. Elliot Anderson has felt the furthest away. Now he doesn't feel that far away anymore.
Yeah, it's you're right. Well, I've mentioned this quite a few times with United, particularly since Ineos came in with their recruitment and their transfer strategy. Not to glaze David Ornstein or whatever, but until he does say it, then that is the only time that I go 100%. Right, legitimate links. Yeah. Because and the way that obviously he does it is, yes, there's sometimes a lot of noise and you get a lot of these sort of paper talks and links, but a lot of the time it's David Ornstein will put the siren, put who it is. It might be someone we've been linked with. It might not be, and it's just Man Utd are going for this person. You go, all right, that's it. So I feel like at the moment, I think your point's perfectly accurate, which is there's a pool of players available this summer. We know they're all moving. So I think they're probably all on Manchester United's list, So whenever they go to the club, these journalists and say, Elliot Anderson, what's the latest of him? They probably just say the same thing. Yeah, he's on the list. You know what I mean? They're on the list, And you go, all right, cool. Were they on the list last summer? Yeah. All right. Okay, fine. And then they go and write their thing and then come back and it's like, right, today, Tonali, yeah, he's on the list as well. All right, cool, no problem. So I think, as of right now, I do think United obviously look, they're trying to get ahead of things as they should because there is so much to do, and that's also why United's getting written about so much because you've even got Harry Maguire on international duty coming out in an interview going, "Yes, a big summer for United." So even the players know that, and obviously we've got to figure out who the permanent head coach is going to be. So, and with a World Cup on the horizon, the smart thing and good business would be if you can sign Elliot Anderson before the World Cup, then you should try and do it.
Yeah,
because
100%.
obviously
Any of these players
afterwards,
before the World Cup.
Exactly. I mean, do you think that's feasible? Just in general, not necessarily just for Manchester United, but also
signing any of them before the World Cup?
Yeah, before the World Cup.
Yeah, definitely. It is feasible. Obviously, it depends on the individual, because from the player side, it all depends on the player. From the player side, and actually, it depends on a lot of factors, actually, because it also depends on the club going, let's
Forest,
take a gamble. Tell you what, don't say yes yet. Say, Elliot, listen, we'll give you a move, but obviously, we want as much for the club as we can get. You want to look at your contracts for the new club. Go away with England. We'll keep talking. And clubs will try to gamble that the player could have a big say on the international stage, and essentially attract more attention from other clubs. Also, from the player perspective, they could gamble, and I say could because some may go, don't need to. I want to just settle everything before I go there. But some could say, now's not the time. I'm just about to go to England camp. It's my first major tournament. I'm the star. I'm one of the star guys in the midfield. I'm about to have the tournament of my life, my first of many, hopefully. I need to be fully focused. Agent, don't speak to me about, let's put everything on hold. Tell them I'm not willing to talk until England's done, for whatever that looks like. And you go, also your agent's going to go, and also, Elliot, I wouldn't advise sort of doing it all now because your stocks are high. You're going to play for England. You're going to be on the world stage. We can get a bit more for you. Like, you say that was your client. Let's just put ourselves in the agent. There's two ways, isn't it? The agent can look at it overall and say, me personally, the agent, I can get a bit more out of this deal. If we wait, if prices go up, this, that, and the other. You play. I know Elliot, know how good he is. This is what we've been waiting for. You to show it on a world stage. The World Cup, England, Tuchel, all of that. Yeah. Go even if England do what they always do and get to the quarters or the semis and go out, like, you can still shine. So let's
in America
just wait
as well. Think of the brands.
America,
the
front of
everything
everybody
that comes with it.
Yeah. So as an agent, I'm going, tell you what, Flex, you could get an earner out of this. And guess what? Elliot gets an. We're all winners. Forest get more money. Everyone gets more. And then you go also, Elliot, you're young. You don't need this going into the tournament. Just focus on England. Just focus on that. But the other side is, you get someone going, I do actually want a clear head and I want my future sorted out so I can focus on that. Depends on the individual. And you go, listen, I want my move done. I'm instructing you, Owen, my agent. I want to know where I'm playing my football before the World Cup starts, before the camp starts, because it's just too difficult. I've got a lot going on in my head. It depends on the individual. A lot of players do like waiting, don't they? They do say, I don't want to talk about my future. I've got to focus on international duty. A lot of them do say that.
Well, I was just looking because I was curious about just how long of a time it is, right? Because this is also what I was talking about. Is it feasible? The season ends on the 24th of May, right? The World Cup begins on the 11th of June. Granted, you could say, well, certain players World Cups don't start till, days after that. But the season ends, the tournament starts. The gap is 18 days. 18 days. And really, in that period, it's all focused on international duty anyway, really, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's a couple of weeks of camp, flying out there, maybe a friendly,
a couple of games,
So realistically, that's what I go back to. I don't know how feasible it is to sign before, but we've also figuring out it'll be one thing if Forest are mid-table, but also, like, their future in the Prem might not get decided until the end of the season anyway. It might go down to the last day. So, and then in that time, you've got maybe 2 or 3 days where you could maybe do something before they go away on international duty, right? So, I don't know how feasible that is. And then on top of that, who are we dealing with? We're dealing with Marinakis. You think Marinakis is going to be suddenly really like, yeah, actually, you know what? Even if it costs us a couple of million less or whatever, we'll get the deal done for you early for everything you've done. Are we taking the piss here? No, he's going to be like, oh, I'll wait till after the World Cup. If you want to come after my play. Because he's also, look, Marinakis is a big, I was hearing about this, but they were talking about how he runs Nottingham Forest and, and they were sort of saying, it's a very much a pride thing. And he wants to legitimately, whether you like him or not, he legitimately does want to be the best. He wants Nottingham Forest to be playing the Champions League and do this and do that. I think there would be an element of pride. Imagine Elliot Anderson goes to the World Cup, like you said, has a stormer. Everyone's going, who is that player for England? He's brilliant. He goes, he's Elliot Anderson. He's my player.
Exactly.
He plays for me. He plays for my club. You're going to sell him in the summer. Yeah, I'm going to sell him in the summer, and I'm going to sell him for maybe, one of the highest fees ever in the Premier League.
Declan Rice went 105.
Yeah.
So a minimum 110 for this guy.
That's my player. The player that everyone's talking about at the World Cup, one of the players people are talking about, Elliot Anderson, plays for Nottingham Forest, my team. So I don't know. So I just don't know if any club, let alone United, is going to be like, oh, we can get that deal done before the World Cup starts.
It's a big deal. It's a lot of money. Yeah. You're right, actually. When you break down the actual timeline, well, how many days is that? Was it like just under 2 weeks?
18 days. It's 18 days.
Just over 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
18 days. Yeah. And I see that England play Costa Rica in the friendly. That's out there, probably in America. So they play
you basically finish the season. The final whistle goes, and you probably have a couple of days off, and then you fly out. Probably that's probably how it is. It's not a lot of time at all.
It's not.
So
it's not.
Can that get done? I mean, again, it depends what happens towards the end of the season, I suppose. How flat does it get, or how intense does it get for certain teams?
Yeah, that is what I did at the World Cup. Are we thinking too much this way, where we're going, like what you said? You made some really good points that's really difficult to do, and forgetting that, like, it is difficult when there's a tournament on, because most players want to, either wait to the end or do it before. Can still sign players when it's happening. It's 2026.
Yeah.
They make phone calls. They do the medical out there in the States. It's easy to do. It happens all the time. Let's not forget that players also do sign when they're on international duty and that they speak. But what also we have to remember is they finish the game and the training for the day, a couple hours training. Then they're in their hotels, walking around the States, going to doing whatever they're doing in their social time, playing ping pong, whatever. They get back to their thing and go, "What's the latest? What's the latest?" Yeah, well, I spoke to them. Things do happen. The football world doesn't stop because the World Cup's on.
Oh no, I just think historically. And again, this is assuming that this deal is worth 100 million. Maybe it won't be, 100 million. But if it is close to that, like you said, they do take time. I remember when we signed Pogba for like 100 million euro, and that, took all summer, didn't it? And that was during an international tournament, wasn't it? 2016 with the Euros. So a lot of times these sort of super high transfers can just take because there's just a lot. I remember reading about, they just said, because there's so much money, there's just a lot that goes into that. And it takes a lot of time. Because you're right, like, obviously, look, Elliot Anderson, he's not going to be sitting down in all of those talks all the time, is he? He's going to be getting phone calls. And how much are they willing to offer me? Or I've got you this deal. You happy with it? Yes, no, go from there. But it's just going to take time. So I don't know. And also, like I said, I think between now and the World Cup anyway, we'll probably have like 5 different top targets that we've allegedly been linked to. Tomorrow will be Tonali again, folks. Spoiler, probably. Or because we have to remember, Man United still aren't playing for another week, so there's still a lot of time to fill, and there's and we're going to be in a bit of an unusual position for us. Fingers crossed, anyway. Touch wood. If it keeps going as is, we should know, in the next 5 or 6 weeks, maybe, whether we're getting Champions League football. Touch wood, we're not going to have to wait till the last day, are we, to figure out, are we going to get Champions League? If we keep things as is, we should know in a relatively short amount of time, which means it makes planning for us a lot easier and doing transfers a lot easier. And we know what we've got for next season. All of these things we've got to do, we can do. Maybe we spend the last part of the season figuring out who the coach is going to be. And by the time the season ends, then we know exactly what we've got for next season. And we're going to be going for talks there. But like we said, for other clubs, it's not as simple as that. Forest might be like, well, we're not going to talk about it, until we know what our situation is in the Prem. Newcastle, they still might be somewhat similar as well. Going, look, well, we don't really know. We know we're not going to be in the Champions League, but you never know. You might make a push towards some European position. We'll see, and go from there. So I'm not sure. I think there's going to be an overabundance of speculation because it's Man United in a season in a summer, where we're recruiting for 5 or 6
where
positions.
we openly need. That's the thing, is where there's no ambiguity about well, we're waiting for targets to emerge of what positions they're looking for. And it's so well publicized. And maybe, listen, with the leaks and with how it goes in the media, and obviously just us as fans with our eyes, you look at the team and go, fucking need to fix that. Need to fix this. It's just always obvious what we need, but it's always well publicized. The what our problem is that there's these big lead-up stories of the deficiency of the team in said area, which make it so obvious what you need. Go on, what's happened?
Flex. Now I've got a dilemma on my hands here. Right. Because I got, on Friday on the Trinity, right?
Yeah.
I got, accused of some things, and all that kind of stuff.
What has happened here?
KG did his victory lap and, said, because he was sort of saying KG's thing was Man Utd should go after Lewis Skelly. And then it was like Lewis Skelly, Manchester United are interested in him. So KG was right? That was what was happening. Yes.
God. I believe so, Owen. Yes. That was the way around the story.
Well, maybe it wasn't so much that Manchester United were interested. Maybe it was more that Lewis Skelly's intermediaries proposed to move to Manchester United. And maybe that was the situation.
But it did say that. It said this has been, even Ben Jacobs said, but obviously when KG went on the victory tour, Ben Jacobs still just said, now this is from the player side. He did say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's not really Man United being interested, is it? That's being proposed.
Oh, so what you're saying? So because KG's going to be watching, he's going to say you're discrediting him again. So
yeah,
what are you saying here? I need to do the Owen thing.
This just popped up a minute ago, 9:42, as you can see there. It just popped up, and that tickled me a little bit.
Well, Dylan and the United District guys are quite good at fact checking and stuff. Nathan Salt definitely said this. Is this?
And actually, also intermediaries, they spelt KG wrong there.
Right. Okay. All right. I get where you're going with this then. Listen, he's been discredited enough. I kind of backed off from the situation to let KG have his time. It sounded wild to me that this could even be a concept, and the next day it was a concept. So I sort of backed off and said, you know what, I apologize. It can be a concept. Because at the very least, it still is a concept. Intermediaries or not, it's been, Sky reported it. So
I said this I said this Friday on the Trinity, and this is going to sound like bullshit. But apologies, this is just how I talk. So I have to say this when I say thank you for gifts. By the way, I have to someone will give me a gift, and I go thank you. That I really like that, and they'll go, well, I'll take it back then. And I go, no, I genuinely do like it. So the apologies, right? So
that is true. That is how Owen is.
When KG told me on Friday that was an original thought from him, right?
Yeah,
and I believe him because he told me that, right? I asked him the question. And to be fair, I was thinking about this over the weekend. I would actually ask that of just anyone. I'm naturally a very skeptical person, right?
Yes, you are. Yeah.
So, but he told me that he came up with the original thought. So I believe him. But I just thought that was interesting because are United, or were they interested in him? Or was it more, like we said, he was proposed?
I believe that
because if that's the case, then that would mean Man United are interested in a lot of players because we get proposed a lot of players.
Look, even after all the thing happened with, we had the fun with it on the Friday / the Thursday and then on the Tuesday before, I do think the whole thing, well, my feeling was we've done all this fun stuff. We ain't going to get him. Like, we're just not. That was the main thing. Like, yeah, we can argue over the semantics and actually, Daniel Kahn standing there going, Man United are interested. It's been presented to them. And Ben Jacobs said, the reason why Man United might like it is because he can play two positions, like KG says, dual positions. But it is through, if we go back to the Ben Jacobs thing, it literally says, this is from the player side. He said it on the United stand. Like, we didn't really focus on that main bit. Yeah. This is led from the player side. So look, I think it was more
that KG said it and then it got reported, I think.
Yeah, it was more that because and where I had to take the L, which I was happy to, is because I shat on it like it was just, what are you doing? No one's ever going to talk about this. This is just something you've made up in your head that's just never going to be out there in the public domain as even a thought. Because that's honestly what I thought. I thought it was another KG thing which is why I definitely believe that he thought of it, by the way. I was in that. Well, we know this. We've been I never even questioned, because this is such a KG thing of, I'm hot, I'm on a sun lounger, I've got sunglasses on, I'm looking into the sky in Mexico. I think we should sign Lewis Skelly. That is the most him thing I could write down.
Someone brought this up the other day, and this is my error, so I apologize for this. obviously I didn't see the Flex and KG show. And Tom brought up a good point, and it is true. If KG had known about it, then he would have just said it in the Flex and KG show, which he didn't, apparently. I still haven't seen it. But
What? No, he did. That's when he first.
No, I mean the report. You know, I was like, oh, it was reported a couple of days before.
Oh, right, yeah, no,
he didn't bring that up on the Flex and KG show, and that would have been the time to bring it up. But I didn't see the Flex and KG show. So, but yes, so apparently it was proposed. Like you said, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's still not. No. It's not going to happen. You know, but it is interesting for all of the. A show said in the chat, it's very interesting for this. You know, amazing star boy. You know, generational. But he's been intermediaries offering him around. It's quite interesting.
But I don't think. You know but I mean? Again, but we do that of like, oh yeah, Arsenal. You said he was so good. Yeah, he's fallen out of favor. But you know, essentially saying I'm fucking good enough to play. Like,
well, it's the same situation as Cobby.
Cobby, yeah, exactly.
Cobby's intermediaries were offering him around. We know he was. They were. You know what I mean?
His brother had a free Cobby shirt on.
Ineos had a price on him. You know what I mean?
His brother was in the Sir Bobby Charlton stand with his t-shirt that said "Free Cobby." Like, forget intermediaries. His brother wore a t-shirt. Imagine Lewis Skelly's brother was in the fucking clock end going, free MLS.
Well, that's the difference, isn't it? That's the difference. If you're winning the league or whatever, you're top of the league. You can't do that, can you? You know what I mean? You can't. No. If you're winning once a month, it's a little bit different. You know, it's a little bit different.
100%.
Just a bit more back to the midfielder situation. And also, folks, we're over 800 people watching. If you haven't already, click the like button. We're not even up 200 likes, Fleck. Good gracious.
Raise it.
So if you haven't already, click the like button. And also, I did put a poll in the chat earlier on, 20 minutes ago. Who should United go for? Assuming Belabor is the midfielder, which we'll talk about in a second. It's close, Fleck. 54% of people say it should be Elliot Anderson. 46% of voters say Tonali. So it's rather close.
It's close, man. That shows you that the fan base is really split.
Yeah.
And it also gives you a good indication of, like, deep down, I think people will be happy to see either of those. But obviously everyone has their personal preference. My personal preference is, and has always been, Anderson. And I'm also, I'll be honest, the more this season has come to a close or is coming to a close, I've been saying to you, I'm not against the Belabor one for the right money. I'm not that thing of like he's had a bad season. Oh, there you go. I'm not really put off by it.
Yeah. It says that Belabor was put in the same category as Tonali last season, which is someone they were interested in. Obviously, we did explore a move briefly at the time. The interest in Belabor could be revived this summer, but he is one of many players on the list. So once again, still trying to be like, well, you know,
he's on the list.
He's one of many players on the list. But that's why I go back to, I feel like a lot of this reporting is a little bit of, well, these are the players we know that everyone's interested in. United will go for one or two of them. Which is
no one's really offering any like new targets or new, but maybe they're not offering that because that is, they have narrowed it. Remember, there was the other thing of we've narrowed it down to 3. Remember doing that clip, and then there were 3, or was it? And then there were 4. Can't remember, but I think it was 3. Belabor's that, and then it's Anderson, Tonali, Wharton. It's those 3, and Belabor's over there. So yeah, I mean, even us feeling comfortable that we're definitely going to get Belabor, aren't we? Like he's the one we're definitely going to get, and then it's out of these. You just don't know. I kind of just want it to be the summer now. I just want to just build up. Just so long.
When you're saying, well, we're going to get Belabor, we're probably going to get Belabor.
No, that's what we were saying. I'm saying.
But like that is the sort of feeling, though, isn't it? It's a little bit like, wow, out of all of these ones, which one's the most likely we're going to get? You'd probably say Belabor's feels like the one you'd if you had to put some serious money down on it. You'd be like, well, what's
going quiet?
What's the safest option? What's the safest in terms of who we'll get? I would go with
because
Belabor.
No one else seems like they're trying to get Belabor. That's what it feels like. We're the only ones trying to get Belabor.
And he's also got the body language of a guy that's known for a year. He's not going to be at Brighton next season, has he? He's going. I'm going Man United. That's where I'm going at the end of the season.
Yeah.
And I don't know if because of that, I've caught myself doing this over the last few days. Because I'm like, all right, feels like we're going to get Belabor. I am kind of trying to convince myself in my head of going, it was just a bad season. It's just a bad season.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Because you got to as well.
Because you got to, you know what I mean? Because you don't want to see your club sign someone and then from day dot be like, oh, this is going to be shit. I don't know about it. Because it's a shit way to start, isn't it? With players. But yeah, there are concerns. But I just feel it's not inevitable. Nothing is. But it does feel like, well, out of all those names, we've been linked to him for a year. And they like him. You know, they like, irrespective of what's happened this year, they like him, and it does feel like it was left with last year. All right, we'll come back in a year's time. I think they probably had hoped that he'd be playing much better this year. We'll be getting a better version of you. But, you know, as Show says in the chat there, it's true. Sometimes when players are on the way out of a club, they have a shitty final year, don't they? It's not the end of the world. Tillemans had one before he went, the way it ended with Leicester. Bloody hell, before he went to Villa, that was nasty. So you do see that sometimes, don't you? Players on the way out, just a bad year, and then go to a fresh club and they're suddenly back to their best. You know, environments do count for something. It's just price again, isn't it? What would that look like? You know, how much is a Carlos Baleba, who's still young, hardly only a couple of seasons in the Premier League, off the back of a bad season? That's not 100 million or nowhere near Caicedo money, is it? But if he does come in and let's say he's really, really good, and we go, tell you what, we signed him in the end for like 50 million. Exactly. Oh, genius. He is a £100 million player. And we got him for half the price. Ineos, you genius. Baleba, you genius. You stunk it out on purpose. He was definitely his heart wasn't in it. Maybe it all works out. Maybe I'm looking at it too negatively, right? Got to look at the positive side of it all.
This Lewis Skelly thing, I was just reading that as a bit of an interesting read from Nathan Salt. Basically, it's more along the lines of, you know, Lewis Skelly was starting every game for Arsenal. You know, Ashley Cole warned at the time, he's young, got to be careful. Youngsters are precious. And 12 months later, it's hardly played a game. He bypassed the under-21s the first time around and went straight into Tuchel's team, got 6 caps, I think it says. And then, you know, now he finds himself actually in Lee Carsley's under-21s. And Lee Carsley's been basically saying, I've been really, really impressed with his quality. And that would have been a tough game for him to come into against 1-1 against Andorra with the 21s. He said he had not had a lot of minutes recently. So for your first game for the under-21s on artificial turf against Andorra, it would have been a bit of an eye-opener for him. But he's played in the right spirit. Good example, blah, 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 blah. Stuff are big on idiosyncrasies that, yeah, blah, 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 blah. But basically, I'm trying to find a bit where, because this will be a needle in a haystack as well about the Man United thing. I'm trying to just
He's got the
down.
Why should you find that? Why should you find that? I mean, he's got the Cobby problem whereby he had a lot very quickly, and anything else down from that it feels like a demotion, doesn't it? You know, this guy's playing against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu, isn't he? And then, like you said, now he's back to playing under 21s. It does feel like a demotion, but at the same time, it happens. It's kind of football, you know, and maybe that is just football, also a top level team, you know, where you get your opportunity by a bit of luck, injuries, absences. When that player comes back, he's probably going to get back into the team, and then it's upon you to either stick in the team or go elsewhere, you know, and prove people wrong.
This is a good point from Nathan Salt. When players debrief, Hall and Lewis, there you go. Rarely do young, high-profile potential players get the time to develop back. You know, for Lewis Skelly, it's a golden opportunity that Lewis Hall, Livramento, and others such as Elliot Anderson have shown can set you up for senior success. Because when you look at look at Lewis Hall, he was in at Chelsea for a bit, playing under Potter, then wasn't, then gets a big move, and then now he's playing. Look at Livramento. He had a couple. I want to say he was at Southampton. Have I just made that up? Or he had a loan or two, didn't he? He was trying to find, was it Fulham? I can't remember. He was somewhere, and he, took a while to get going. Got injuries. Elliot Anderson got a little bit of a taste for it with his boy club. Then gets sold for PSR at Forest, and you're thinking, what's this going to look like? And now he's fucking, you know what I mean? Top player. So
I was just, that result kind of skipped over me. They drew with Andorra under 21s.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a shit result, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not great.
They're top of their group, by the way. But like, considering some of the England players that were playing, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
shouldn't really happen.
You'll
get a second opportunity.
Lewis Skelly, Nwaneri, Joe Bellingham, Tariq George, who else is in that team? Rico Lewis, you know what I mean? Like that. 1-1 against Andorra. That's a terrible result.
But that's just it. They're young and inconsistent, isn't it?
Yeah, this is what you got to learn, isn't it?
You've got some players in there that are unsettled at the minute. You know, you've had Ethan Nwaneri who's had to go off to France, thought he'd be making it. They're young kids. I think that is actually, Livramento was at Chelsea and then went to Southampton. Yeah, I remember him there. So, he's had an up and down where you go, this kid's got something, but he's getting shipped off on loan, not making it Chelsea, this, that, and the other. And now he's clearly a very good right back. It's just obviously the injuries that are holding him back. And Lewis Hall's flying now. No young player gets a clear run at everything. Again, look at Cobby. you know. So he's just got to wait.
I wonder what it's like, you know, you say with like Lee Carsley there, because obviously he sees them in like camp, you know, once every sort of 3 or 4 months or something like that. And particularly at that young of age, I wonder if he has had situations whereby you've got a player really, really good. They have a good England camp or whatever. They go back off to their club. They don't play for 3 months because they've got like an issue like Cobby had or whatever, where they just don't play because they've got issues or what have you. I wonder when they come back, the difference between them and the player that has been playing for 3 months from a development perspective. I wonder if they go, I tell you what, that guy there isn't as good as this one, but he's been playing for 3 months and actually he's developing quicker because he's playing. You know what I mean? I wonder if those international coaches can see that a bit more clearly than we can as fans, because we see them every weekend. We just see it all the time. But I wonder if those international coaches on the ground in the training session only see him, you know, a few every 3 months go, tell you what, he's not the same player he was 3 months ago. That player's been playing a lot more than him, and he's not getting any game time. He looks shit. You know, he's 100% behind.
Yeah. And also, there's another thing of like, just is defending Lewis Kelly a bit as well, and just young players in general. The coaches see something different. Like Arteta's seen something. It's gone, and I know it can look to the fans where you go, fucking hell, kid's starting for England. He's this, he's that, but he's not ready. He's not ready yet. I've got 2 guys that I know are better than him and going to be better for the team long term. He's done well because we stumbled across one because of injuries. It showed how good you actually are. But you're still not ready to be playing week in, week out at this level, going for a title, competing for champ, you know. And sometimes that's a harsh thing to hear as a young player. You go, you know, like the teacher versus the master. You go, sorry, the student versus the teacher. You go, well, I am fucking ready. How dare you? I've done this. I played at the Bernabeu. And then the master goes, you think you're ready? 1 game at the Bernabeu? You think, you know, like that, them sort of films that you see.
What have you been watching?
I don't know. So maybe, I don't know, one of them kung fu films or something. But you know what I mean? Like the kid thinks they've learned it all because they were Rocky and all that. They think, I'm ready.
This is why you need to watch Star Wars, Fleck. I mean, this is exactly...
Yeah, because this is what Anakin... This is what Anakin said to Luke.
Yeah.
He said, you know, listen, Luke, my son. You know, Darth Maul / Vader. You think you're ready to save the universe with this lightsaber? Let me tell you something. You've had 1 fight with that lightsaber and you think you're sick. There's many more guys out there that are worse than this. And you have to fight every single week. That's different to winning a one-off fight. A one-off fight with your sword. That's different. So
I tell you what, Flex, you've pretty
much
word for word from Return of the Jedi. That's like the last scene. Pretty much word for word for word.
Father, I'm ready. Son, you are not ready. You're not worthy yet. You need to go and learn more things.
Yeah, see? That's exactly what they said.
See,
that's exactly what they said. So it's pretty close. I mean, give or take a couple of words. You're not going to be perfect, but
well, they're 2 people, aren't they? Darth Maul. That is a real person, isn't it? In the thing.
It is. There's a series coming out. There's a series coming out with Darth Maul, which is pretty cool.
So, you know, all of those Mandalorians, you know, you got to...
Nice.
You know what I mean? So...
Yeah.
Star Wars scholar, mate. So...
Exactly. That's the real scholar you want to be.
And obviously, Princess Layla, if you want to save her, you got to really...
Layla.
You got to lock in.
You know? Yeah, you got to lock... Exactly. That's what they said to Princess Layla. You know, they said
he's not ready. Luke's not ready to save you yet. He needs more training. So we've taken him out. Basically, put him in the under 21s again. So he can learn.
Yeah. And who did he train with? He
trained with some top guys that you know, they're called. They're a group of people. I can't remember what they're called, but he trained with them. And then in order to get his dad, which is Darth Vader. He had to train. He had to go back, reset himself. No, there's spoilers in that, but you should have watched it by now. If you ain't seen that, if you don't know that's the basic story of Star Wars, then I can't help you. It's about 40 years old, mate.
Even Flex knows.
Yeah. So he had to go and do that with them people. So that made him into the man he is today. Or the man he was by the end of the Star Wars stuff, because it's finished now. So yeah.
And class, that was Flex's explanation of the entire, you know, Star Wars saga. There you go.
100%. Make sure you take it in. Yeah. And I've done all that without even watching one of the films. So it can't be that hard. You just pick it up.
You haven't watched any? Oh, well, I thought with that level of detail,
that's what I'm saying.
Much, yeah.
You just read the clues, mate. Read the clues. I remember when the Phantom Menace was part of the McDonald's. Used to get the McDonald's Happy Meal.
You ever played the game on PS1? You ever played the game on PS1?
Never played.
It was hard. It was difficult. Really
Was it?
difficult. Oh yeah, you couldn't barely get out of the first level. It's proper PS1 game. You know what I mean? We just basically there's nothing. You're just walking around.
Yeah. See,
But at the
that was
time,
what I was
this
like with
is
Tomb
amazing.
Raider as well. This is why I just get angry at them type of games because I just. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Guys, big up yourself. Oh, Zuta, you was there. Yeah, morning, glorious. Yeah. He made his way onto DR yesterday, and they read it out, and I went mad. I said, "Oh, for fuck's sake, he's made it here." And they're like, "No, what's this?" And I'm like, "He called yummy," and they were like, "Oh, that's a compliment, man." Yeah,
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, if you want to keep spending money over here on DR," I was like, "Guys, don't do this. This is."
Hey, Zuta, you're exclusive to us. Don't go over to DR with your harassment. It lives here, okay? this is you know where your bread's buttered, okay? Pause. Or over here, right? I don't even know what that means.
Before I leave, guys, obviously you would have noticed
forever.
I know you would have noticed. You would have noticed, guys, that obviously my sound has sounded really sort of crisp today, this morning. You're probably wondering why I've sounded so good today. Obviously, Fleck knowledge and all that, but it's just because it's just because of that, guys. It's just because I can just, I'm not trying to. Listen, let me just not even say anything more. But
that means you can do a proper Gary Neville without having to.
Yeah, I could just do that. It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. But I didn't want to brag about it. I just wanted you guys to just. You say no one cares show, but I'm sure everyone's noticed. It's not a new mic. No, it's absolutely not. It's the same mic, but that's what I'm saying. By the adjustments I've made.
Has he changed? Has that guy changed his profile picture to me with a wig now?
Yeah, I didn't even realize that.
Look, I'm in the Bee
That's
Gees.
wild. Yeah, you do. Well, ABBA. That is wild. Yeah.
This is how you know Flex is so Flecknology. Look, he is like fully amazed by a microphone arm as like the peak of technology.
Well, what's also funny is I was going to ring you to work out how to attach this to that because it wasn't working, but I realized I had to unscrew this little thing. But I was going to ask you, should it be that loose? Should it be able to do that?
Yeah, mine does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the up and down bit is where it tightens. But should this be able to just? Is that all right?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Over time, it will
Yeah. Well, I just had to basically work that out myself. Just unscrew that really, and then I was able to. Depends what mic you got, mate.
Everything falls apart now. All I had to do is unscrew this.
well, I've still got this that I haven't used, but I'm like, well, it works. So I'm fine without it. So if you see it just do a madness, then you know why. So there you go. All right, guys. Big up to yourselves. If you fancy laughing at Matisse and Chelsea that all his players want to leave, because it's a disgrace, then join me over on Football Flex shortly. Pre-record video going out there about everybody wants to leave Chelsea. Made in Chelsea, everyone wants to leave Chelsea. Cucurella wants off. Enzo Fernandez wants off. And so if you want to laugh at Matisse / Liam Rossigna, then join me there. Smash a like. All right, guys, have a blessed day.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Hold on, wait a minute.
No one from Zuta. Go read it out.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. What he said, what Zuta said. Yeah.
All right.
Big up to Zuta. Yeah. Have a good day, guys.
Bye.
Bless. Asher says bye as well. Big up.